This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Hi there, welcome to the program. Glad to have you with us for the next 30 minutes. Senator Raphael Warnock, honeybees and cows. What do all three have in common?
Well, it's very simple. They're all a part of this show. Coming up, the Monitor was there as Senator Warnock hears from Georgia farmers about the many challenges they face day in and day out, what he said he plans to do with all the feedback and information once he returns to Washington. Speaking of challenges, sure, the pandemic is preventing many school kids from taking field trips to area farms, but now a new program is bringing the farm right to the classroom. Plus, Ray travels to Floyd County and introduces us to three women whose passion for honeybees has elevated them to rock star-like status within the community. These stories and so much more start right now on the Farm Monitor.
With agriculture being the largest industry in the state, it's imperative that Georgia legislators are up to date on the major issues affecting farmers today. And with his recent appointment to the Senate Ag Committee, Senator Raphael Warnock insisted on creating a farm tour in order to meet with them face to face. Damon Jones takes you to Colquitt County, where the newly elected senator got up close and personal and an up-close look at some of the state's top commodities.
Despite being on the job less than 4 months, one of the first orders of business for Senator Raphael Warnock was making a trip into rural Georgia for a meet and greet with some of the state's top agricultural leaders. During his 7-stop farm tour, Senator Warnock not only got a chance to hear some of their concerns, but also see how farming operations are run on a daily basis.
He needs to see hands-on, firsthand, what we do for a living and how things operate and how technologically advanced agriculture is. It's not following a mule and dropping seed by hand now. And well, you got computers on tractors talking to computers on planters to even get the seed in the ground. And we were lucky that he wanted to do this. We were very lucky that we had industry leaders come and talk to him today and on a tour with him. It means a lot that he would take the time to get out of D.C. and come and meet his people out in the state, and especially make a specific ag tour day.
It's the type of event Warnock made sure to organize early in his term, knowing just how important agriculture is to the state's economy. That's also the reason why he asked to be on the Senate Ag Committee, where he realized from an early stage just how unique the challenges were that farmers faced within the state.
Well, I learned that the needs of farmers depends on a range of things. I mean, the farmers here in Georgia have needs and priorities that are a little different from the folks in the Midwest or in other parts of the country. And so I'm here to learn all that I can about the challenges that they face so that when we put forward public policy, we make life better and not worse, easier and not harder.
Since he is on the Ag Committee and since he is chairman of the subcommittee that deals with trade and risk management and commodities, then it's a very important thing that we need to be able to get to know him and communicate with him.
That communication is a priority for the newly elected senator, who emphasized his open-door policy towards agriculture throughout the tour. And while there was plenty of new information to take in, Warnock says he's encouraged by just how much the industry's goals align with his own.
Well, one of the things that I'm heartened by is the ways in which the farmers are saying that we can focus on productivity and prosperity and sustainability, ecological sustainability, all at the same time. Those things can all be done at the same time. In fact, they have to. And that's the word I'm hearing from these farmers. And so that will inform the kind of policy that I will try to put forward.
While this day-long experience might have exposed him to the intricacies of the agricultural industry, its significance to the overall health of the state is something Senator Warnock was very well aware of when he was elected into office.
It is difficult to overstate the importance of agriculture, obviously, for the economy of Georgia. And it's the reason why I'm on the Ag Committee. And I'm going to be doing everything I can to make the work that the folks who put food on our table easier and more profitable.
Reporting from Colquitt County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, nothing says May like mint juleps, Churchill Downs, 3-year-old thoroughbreds, and now Vidalia onions. Yeah, how about this news? The world famous Vidalia now on the official menu at next month's Kentucky Derby. It'll be featured in several dishes like chicken with Vidalia onion and mushroom sauce, as well as Vidalia and bourbon sorghum vinaigrette dressing on a black-eyed pea salad. Ooh. Also, the Vidalia Onion Committee, one of the sponsors for this year's Derby. Chairman Aries Haygood saying he hopes the new partnership serves as a tiny beacon of normal life by bringing together two of the country's beloved rites of spring.
It is one of those things that's kind of energizing us. I mean, so many people have already been commenting on this, folks that I didn't even put two and two together with, just reaching out, man, this is awesome. I mean, Kentucky Derby, man, this is great. So, we're all looking forward to it and seeing what's going to come about and how it all is going to play out.
Meantime, Georgia Farm Bureau President Tom McCall says he applauds the Supreme Court's recent ruling in favor of Georgia in its longtime battle with Florida over water usage. President McCall releasing a statement saying, in part, quote, the state of Georgia and Georgia farmers have implemented numerous water conservation measures in the past 25 years that preserve water and minimize the amount of water Georgia farmers use to grow their crops. We think the Supreme Court recognized this with its ruling, end quote.
As more and more people become removed from the farm, it's important for those in agriculture to find creative ways to teach folks about where their food comes from. A good place to start would be the Adopt a Cow program. John Holcomb reports on the particulars of it and how the dairy industry is being showcased in classrooms throughout the Southeast.
In Morgan County, these kids are having a blast building a dairy farm with Legos after learning about the dairy industry, something that is possible through the Adopt a Cow program, a program that allows the class to keep track of a dairy calf and learn how dairies operate throughout the year. Something Karen Spence, a teacher in Morgan County, says is great for the kids and is something that she can easily incorporate into their curriculum.
I follow along with the science standards of the different grade levels. Agriculture is really cool it's a great application of the science standards, and it's a real life application. Agriculture touches every aspect of their lives, and so they enjoy learning about the agriculture and how to put something in science that's kind of abstract to life. And so I built PBLs around the problems are around agriculture issues. So it's been really good. They've really accepted it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Throughout the year, classrooms get updates like this from the farms, with all kinds of information about the calf they have adopted. This particular calf is from Big Sandy Creek Dairy, which is just down the road from the school, and is a small family-run operation that thrives on educating the public about the industry. And so when the opportunity presented itself to get involved with the program, they didn't hesitate.
Mom and Dad have always been really big on community service, community outreach, and education. So my mom is a teacher, and Dad knows the importance of sharing the farm with other people to pass on agriculture, and so that society looks at agriculture in a positive light. So the Adopt a Cow program was a way for us to reach out to more people than we've had in the past, especially since it's virtual. It's spanned across the state of Georgia, Florida, the country, the Southeast. And so through the Dairy Alliance and the Dairy Discovery program, we were able to participate in that program.
Caitlin says the program is a great way to take a little bit of their farm into classrooms, something that's been limited due to COVID, and is something that she says is important for kids to see when they're young.
It's an opportunity to put ag education in classrooms virtually, especially when we had COVID this past year and kids couldn't come out and visit the farm. But it's also impacted students to see, oh, that's a cow. Cows are treated well. Dairy farmers really care about their animals. They spend time with them. They name them. It puts a positive light on that, and we hope to grow that through students so they can tell their other classmates about it, and other classmates see it through the future. And then when they're older, they tell their kids about it. It just grows and grows to help promote the dairy industry. And that's the biggest thing that we've wanted to do through this program, is to educate students so that they can educate others and that they enjoy cows.
In the end, the goal is simple. They just hope the kids learn something about the dairy industry and make the connection to where their food comes from.
I hope that they learn that their milk's not just coming from Ingalls. Yeah, you go buy it from Ingalls, but all the work that goes in behind the milk to produce it and bring it here, so to their tables. I just want them to have an understanding of how much goes into it.
Since starting the program, there have been more than 25,000 classrooms utilize the program in the Southeast. totaling more than 200,000 students. Reporting in Madison for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thank you so much. Well, they may have the sweetest job in Georgia. After the break, how 3 friends dedicated themselves to protecting honeybees and the difference they have made by doing so in Floyd County.
Are you team Brussels sprouts or team anything but these bitter little cabbages? I guarantee you are going to be team Brussels when you taste this recipe air fried, drenched in a luscious peanut chipotle vinaigrette. Preheat your air fryer to 400 degrees and lightly brush Brussels sprouts with peanut oil. Place in the fryer basket and cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, shaking halfway through. While the Brussels sprouts are cooking, make the vinaigrette. Start with 2 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter. Add 2 teaspoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of water, 3 teaspoons champagne vinegar, 1/8 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, and kosher salt to taste. Whisk until smooth. Toss the Brussels sprouts in the peanut chipotle vinaigrette until well combined. Add feta cheese, some mandarins, fresh mint, garnish with a little bit more mandarin juice, some mandarin segments, feta cheese, and some crispy fried shallots. The magic really happens with this recipe when that smoky, nutty vinaigrette meets the perfectly cooked Brussels sprouts. And bonus, the healthy fat, fiber, and protein found in peanut butter helps you stay full for longer. The only thing you need is extra peanut chipotle vinaigrette so you can keep on doing the dip. Look for these Brussels sprouts and more on my social at Parker's Plate. For more recipe inspiration, head to gapeanuts.com.
Well, if you think you have it bad, try being a honeybee in the 21st century. Not only do you have to answer to an unforgiving and ruthless queen, there's also mites you have to worry about. Colony collapse disorder, killer Asian hornets, exterminators, and yes, humans who totally don't get you and think your only value is the occasional jar of honey. Fortunately, there are 3 ladies in Rome, Georgia, who have dedicated themselves to ensure that all the honeybees they encounter are staying alive. You can tell by the way they use their walk, these ladies mean business. Monica Shepard, Andy Beyer, and Denise Champagne, also known as the Bee Shees. So let's start with the name. Coincidence or somebody a fan of late 70s disco?
Well, you know, we started out as a group of women. We were going to be a group of women the entire time, and I am a graphic designer and marketing person, and so we talked about different ideas, but the Bee Shees is just what stuck. And so our tagline is She's Who Keep Bees. So we are the Bee She's, She's Who Keep Bees.
Bees are literally one of the most fascinating creatures on the planet. And even as long as we've been beekeeping, there's always some new situation that we've never encountered before. So it's there is no dull in beekeeping at all.
Never a dull moment, and no 2 jobs exactly alike. And when I say jobs, I mean things like traveling to people's homes for swarm infestations and extractions, a process most exterminators won't even think about attempting. In fact, if a swarm needs extracting and then relocated to a safer area in Floyd County, well, guess who's one of the first to get the call? You guessed it, the Bee Shees. Additionally, they're also advocates for bees within the community. One of their proudest moments came when Rome was named an affiliate of Bee City USA, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting pollinators.
So Andy and I both had discovered this project, and so we went to a good friend of ours who was the head of the Keep Rome and Floyd Beautiful campaign at the time, and she is just a powerhouse and jumped, with both feet into applying for that and making sure that we met all of the requirements. It's very much like being a tree city. There's different parameters that you have to accomplish. The number of beekeepers in your area, the number of pollinator-friendly gardens in your area, that sort of thing. And so we were able to get Rome designated. I think we were third in the state. I can't remember what but yeah, it was pretty early on that we got designated. And it has been tremendous to see how folks in the community have embraced that, you know, and we get swarm calls every spring, very happily get swarm calls every spring because we love going and capturing swarms. And it's interesting to me how we have seen people shift from being terrified and, oh my gosh, you've got to come and get these, my husband's going to spray them, you know, and stuff like that, to, hey, we've got a swarm of bees, we know we need to just leave them alone, but do you want to come and get them, you know? And so the knowledge base has changed so dramatically since we've gotten this Bee City USA designation, I think is a big part of that.
Advocates aside, the Beeshees are friends first and foremost. Longtime friends at that. As one of them told me, they've watched their kids grow up together and have been there for one another through both good times and bad. For Denise Champagne, the bad for her came during the early days of COVID-19. By medical standards, Denise is considered a long hauler, a person who doesn't fully recover from COVID weeks or even months after first experiencing symptoms. Almost a year later, though, she is now indeed fully recovered, fully vaccinated, and once again, enjoying life as a Beeshee. You know, COVID survivor, I guess you want to say, and here you are out with the bees. Does that, really make what you do now with these bees, does that make it even more special?
It does, because I was sick for so long and everything was such a struggle, and then I was not able to get out and do that and be a part of it. There were things that we did as a group that I wasn't able to participate in because of being sick. So yeah, it's pretty special to be back out and back at everything again and feeling pretty good.
When I started beekeeping with the girlfriends and doing the Beeshees, suddenly the dynamics changed completely. We would celebrate a bee emerging from its cell by cheering her on and, yay, go bee! We're so happy you're here, happy birthday! And we just were mortified if we crunch one, you know, putting boxes back together. So it's definitely changed the dynamics of my beekeeping from with guys to girls.
As far as the Beeshees expanding, sorry, wannabes, not gonna happen.
We have stayed very tight and very close, and we kind of like it that way, you know. We very much support other beekeepers and women getting into beekeeping, but the Beeshees is us.
They are great, aren't they? Well, before you pick up those pruning shears, hold up. Some tips and tricks you need to know. That's next.
Hey everybody, Seth Hawkins, Georgia Forestry Commission here. Welcome to another episode of our Ask the Arborist Tree Care video series. Today we're going to talk about proper tree pruning. So we're going to demonstrate a little pruning and talk about the reasons you would want to prune your trees. The first reason you prune a tree is for tree health and vigor, and the second reason would be, tree structure and overall safety of those trees, especially once they start to get larger. And the third reason would be aesthetics, flowering, overall form, and just look of your backyard. So with that, we'll go check out some trees, see what pruning we can do, and kind of demonstrate some of that stuff. Hey guys. Say, this is Alex Ballard and Matt Peterson, both also community foresters with the Georgia Forestry Commission and ISA certified arborists. They're going to be our pruning crew for today, and we're going to do a little bit of pruning on this tree we planted about 2 planting seasons back. So it's in need of just a little basic structural pruning to make sure it gets off on the right foot to have really good safe structure down the road. So we talked about those 3 reasons for pruning, either for the tree health and vigor. So we'll remove things like these sucker branches and all this just to help make sure resources get up the tree. Sucker growth is the term used for those little water sprouts that come out at the base of the tree and up the stem of the tree, and it's just good practice to go ahead and remove those. So as you can see, Matt's going to cut this sucker growth off the stem of the tree, and you can see where he's making that cut right outside the branch collar of that little branch. And you'll notice that little bit of bulge coming off the stem. That means he didn't get into the branch collar and make it a flush cut. So that was a really good pruning cut. But we'll make sure to get all these suckers off just so we can make sure we're getting all the water and resources going up to the foliage and up to the crown. So now Alex is going to do a little bit more of structural pruning. What we were doing before was kind of for the tree health, but this is going to be for the long-term structure of the tree. So again, you notice all these same branches coming out of that one confluence. So he's going to take out some of those branches so they have a little more room to grow. A branch confluence is a spot on the tree where multiple branches come out of the main stem at one spot up the tree. Another thing you'll notice is we use the hand pruners for that sucker growth, but you notice the diameter on these branches getting a little larger up here, so it's really best to use your hand loppers when you can. And right here, Alex is going to take this branch back to its parent branch, because you can see how this was kind of growing back into the center of the tree. And you'll see where he's taking it back to a crotch or a union on that branch. You don't want to make an internodal cut and just cut it wherever. You make sure to cut it back to a union or a crotch or back to the main stem. An internodal cut refers to a pruning cut that's either not at the branch collar or not at a node, which is a spot at which a new branch would form. And here's where Alex is just going to do some final cleanup, making sure he gets any small suckers that are coming off the main stem. So this right here is an example of a past pruning cut that maybe isn't the best pruning practices, right? You can see it's just an internodal cut, leaving this big stub. And if you look real closely, there's some fungal decay setting up in this stub, and that fungal decay can use this stub to run right back into the parent stem or into the parent branch that it's attached to. But we can fix this by making our cut at the proper place. It'll trigger the compartmentalization process and seal off that wound rather than just having this rotting stub sticking out like this. So I was talking about making the cut at the right place to trigger the compartmentalization process. We want to cut back to either a crotch or a union or the main stem. We don't want to just leave this stub on here, allowing fungal decay to get back into the rest of the tree. So the big thing here is you're going to be making sure you make this cut right outside that branch collar. But the big thing with a branch this size is using something arborists call the 3-cut method to alleviate some of this weight when we take the final cut off, because we don't want this to peel bark down the side of the tree. The tree can't seal a wound on the side of its stem like that. So I'm going to demonstrate the 3-cut method. I use this for pretty much anything bigger than my thumb. Sometimes it seems like overkill, but I've seen some really small branches peel down a tree before. So the big thing with the 3-cut method, it's not just a clever name. You make 3 cuts. Again, the whole point is to alleviate weight before we make that third and final cut. Your first cut is going to be an undercut about 6 inches out from that branch collar where you want to make your final cut. So you make your undercut about halfway, maybe a third to a halfway up from the underside of that branch. Your second cut will be starting from the top side, maybe about an inch, inch and a half outside of that first undercut. And you're going to come all the way down with that. Sometimes it'll pop off and you'll get this nice little upside down stair step looking thing. Sometimes if there's not enough weight on the branch, it'll just saw all the way down through and you'll just have that stub again. So then your third and final cut, once you've alleviated all that weight off that branch, will be coming back to your branch collar to make your final cut in the right spot to trigger that compartmentalization process to seal that wound. Hey, thanks y'all. So you see they got us all cleaned up, and you can see we've got some pretty good structure established in this tree now, just from a little bit of basic pruning. Basic young tree structural pruning is something that most of us can do in our backyard that'll really improve the health and structure of our trees long term. It can also save us a lot of time, effort, and money down the road. The earlier we intervene and get good structure into a tree, the easier and more affordable it is to keep that tree with good structure, especially once it starts to get large. If you ever have any further questions or want to learn more about pruning, our website, gatrees.org, has a lot of great resources and pruning diagrams and other tree care topics. I also invite you to visit our Ask the Arborist webpage, where you can submit questions and pictures, and our team of arborists will help answer your tree care questions. So thanks for reviewing today, and I will see y'all in the next tree care video.
Seth, thanks so much, sir, and thank you for watching.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.